Okay, so here is a quick tutorial on how you can significantly improve the audio captured by your camera in Premiere. Okay, so that is that, and now let's get into the process. This is really fast and really easy. So first thing we're going to do is right-click on our audio and send it to Audition. Now, in this situation that I don't have specific background noise. I got a pretty clean audio, but you can see from these waveforms that I have an unwanted clicking sound from my microphone. The process is the same for removing background noise, so don't worry. I'm going to right click on the audio and choose Edit Clip in Adobe Audition. Now, if you've never used Audition, don't be intimidated. It's easy. There's only like 3 steps, and then we bring it right back into Premiere. So now we are in Audition and we can see the waveform for our audio. And if we want to zoom in, we can use this little zoom button to zoom in and get a little bit closer view. I actually want to stretch it out. So let's see if we can zoom in on the timeline, which looks like the key command is the equal button. There we go. So now I can see those notches really noticeably. And basically what you need to do is you need to find a spot where your interviewer is not speaking, okay? Because we're going to take a picture of the noise floor and we are going to basically get Audition to remove it. So by default, you're already going to have the time select tool selected. So all I really have to do is find a spot with no one talking. And you can see there's some noise in here. So, but like right here looks good. And you can see my noise floors right there as well. And luckily that's pretty low, but these clickings are pretty high. And so I'm just going to click right here and drag out a section. And then I am going to capture the noise print. And in order to capture the noise print, we basically need to press Shift P. It says current audio will be captured and loaded as a noise print for use in your next time you use noise reduction. Perfect. Click OK. So again, I've captured the noise print so we can analyze just that. And then I'm going to go up to Effects and choose Noise Reduction Restoration. And then I'm going to choose Noise Reduction Process. And by clicking on that, it's going to open a new window. And by default, it's going to set to 50% noise reduction, and it's going to reduce it by 16 decibels. Looking at this, that's probably going to be a little low. That might work for you guys. But let's go ahead and just apply that and see what we get. So to apply that noise reduction, I just click Apply, and then I hit Command S to save. And by doing that, it automatically updates in Premiere. So now if I go back to Premiere, we should be able to take a look at this waveform. And at the moment, I'm not seeing a noticeable difference. And so what I'm going to do is send it back to Audition. So if that didn't do enough, I can go back to Audition and I can simply increase those numbers. I'm going to go right back to Effects, Noise Restoration, or Noise Reduction, Noise Reduction. And I don't have to take another print because the other one is still loaded in there. But what I am going to have to do is increase the decibels on mine to probably, I don't know, maybe 25. And I'll bump up the noise reduction to say 70 and apply. Now, unfortunately, that's going to cause some damage to my audio. And you can see in some spots it's still there, and then in some spots it's barely noticeable. I'm going to hit Command S and go back to Premiere. When I save out of Audition, it automatically updates in Premiere. And now you'll notice that my noise floor is much lower, still a little bit noticeable with those thumps. Let's give it a listen. Okay, so they're hitting at about 45, negative 45. They're coming up from about negative 57. So potentially I could try to drop another 10 decibels off of that. let's give it a shot and see what happens. But I'm going to go back to Audition one more time. Again, my problem's a little bit different than most. I'm going to go back to Effects, Noise Reduction, and then choose Noise Reduction. And I'm just going to tweak the values a little bit. And I'm noticing it's defaulting back to 50%. So this time I'm going to go up to, say, 75. And I'll keep the reduce, I'll knock that up to 30 decibels. Choose Apply. Okay, so now I hit Command S, and that updates in Premiere. Might take a second, and there it is. Now you can see visually there's no thumps left. Okay, that's good. Problem solved. Almost. Let's listen to what it did to my audio.
Tighten that up around my anchor point.
Ooh, made it very tinny, very thin. Those were kind of low-end thumps. So now I have to fix that. And by fixing that, I could potentially reintroduce some issues, so just be aware of that. But first thing I'm going to do is go to the Vocal Enhancer, which is right here in my effects window under audio effects. I'm going to add that to the clip. Double click on the clip, and that will let me take a look at it in my effects control window. Now by default, it's not going to do much. I need to come in here and choose Edit, change it to Male, and that is probably about all I'm going to do with that effect. I can come down here and adjust the individual parameters if I want, but quite honestly, I think a graphic EQ is probably going to be my better option. So we'll come back and listen.
Tighten this cinch strap down. Tighten that up around my ankle.
Still pretty tinny, still pretty trebly. So let's go over and grab a graphic EQ. You can use any kind of EQ you're most comfortable with. I'm going to use a 10 band. Actually, I'll go with a 20 band graphic EQ because I'm going to just try to add a little warmth and low end back into this. So I drag that over and it shows up right here. And I can choose Edit. And now I can come in here and drop the treble a little bit and bring up the low end a little bit and maybe even pop the mids. Now again, I'm just kind of going with an application, then I'll listen to it and make some adjustments. Let's listen back.
And I'm going to go ahead and tighten this cinch strap down, tighten that up around my anchor point.
It's not too bad. It's still tinny and thin, but compared to what it was suffering from, that's an amazingly efficient fix. I'm just going to keep kind of warming it up with a little low end, and I'll come in here to the mids as well. Try to fatten those up a little bit without adding any additional treble or tinniness to the recording because the noise reduction caused that effect. So we brought up the bass, brought up the mids, brought down the treble. Let's listen.
I can turn it around.
Oof.
Then this bottom, just like with your Pro Knee, this bottom strap is your anchor.
Interestingly, it's weird. It kind of bounces in. I mean, it's better than it was.
Then this bottom.
I'd rather have this than have a thumping going throughout my entire recording.
Tighten that up around my anchor point.
I can live with that. I mean, again, if this was something I was really working on, I'd probably spend a little more time.
And the Pro Knee.
It's pretty rough. Definitely shows you that you need to get your acquisition right in the first place. But for most of you, this technique will save you. It'll cut down a lot on the background noise. If you can't get it all out, it's not the end of the world. But it should help you lower it and hopefully get a better sounding overall audio.